Hello, I'm Chelsea McFedrin, the creative director and head stylist of Somewhere Concepts, a boutique studio of interior design based here in Bali.
Hi, my name's Anton Clark. I'm a consultant at Bali Landscape Company. I help lead the design direction of the company. We are a landscape architecture company and we build and design gardens in Bali, across Indonesia and Southeast Asia.
Today we are at Tegel House, an incredible project based in Canggu. The project has been led by New Zealand architect Sam Lennon of the Lennon project. Project management is by Utara Architects. Somewhere Concepts is responsible for the interiors. Lighting is Studio Nimmersatt. Woodworking, all fixed furniture and cabinetry by Kalpataru. And Bali Landscaping has done all of the beautiful landscaping that you see around the villa. The clients are Marcus and Miriam Jensmar, who put together this incredible group and allowed us to collaborate and create this beautiful villa. When the client, Marcus, came to Somewhere Concepts to do the interiors for this villa, we were given a very thought out architecture and interiors brief from the architect. Sam had a clear vision of how he wanted the home to look. For me and our team, we drew inspiration on the 70's, something retro, eclectic, and curated, as well as Bali, where we have ethnic pieces, artifacts, and of course all of the local materials, including the furniture and the finishings.
The original brief was more of a very leafy, tropical Bali garden, and as the project came together, the landscape moved more towards a minimalist tropical. So now you see a more minimalist landscape, really just using 2 or 3 of the very round leaf plants and then just 2 species of palms and the trees. So it went from mixed to being very architectural in style for the landscape.
The homeowner was very involved in this project. Marcus has a clear and distinct aesthetic. It was easy for me to understand what he likes and dislikes and then to execute that. The space planning was already allocated by the architect. He has a very good use of space, function is foremost, and the flow of the house was already determined. Also, if it's authentic to the client or the place and the artist, and it's not something that's just following trends or trying to be on trend, I think that it will be classic and timeless. It's not something that seems, you just picked up from Pinterest or from a trend or from Instagram. It's not being driven by that. It's an expression of all of the collaborators that are involved as a reflection of the client's taste and aesthetic.
The general design aesthetic or concept was a design of forest in a confined area and layering that. So how did we layer the garden where we have narrow spaces? So we did that with a vertical element, and I suppose that was the biggest challenge. So playing with that narrow element and bringing green from top to bottom.
The mood of the house is really nice. It's very interesting. It's sort of cocooning, it's very cool but warm, and it's very raw. We wanted all of these beautiful natural elements from Bali and these stunning materials to just be the focal point. The architect spent so much time in making the details stand out. You'll see throughout the house there's bricks layered and pop, the different sizes used, again different stains for woods, and different finishings. Sometimes we do honed, sometimes we do polished with the same stone. So this all creates a very natural, earthy, relaxed, yet refined mood to the home.
For this landscape, it's fairly easy. It's really just trimming and letting things bush out and fill out. but most of the plants we use are typical forest floor plants, plants that can handle low light and shade. So really it's trimming, watering and making sure the soil is maintained, that you have good healthy soil. So adding compost, adding manure, keeping that lovely soil profile so the trees and the plants do what you want.
We selected materials that are authentic to Bali or Indonesia, that gave a sense of place, things that were raw, hard to find, unique, and expensive. We wanted to create an exclusivity and just sort of a curated feeling to the house with everything that went in the house, which includes materials. I think the home is a very material dominant home, and the sense that that's the artistry of it is the materials that are used, how they're used, and in what arrangements.
The biggest challenge on this project is it's a very tight, narrow site. We have high boundary walls either side, and how do we hide those high neighbours? So we played with tall, thin palms that still let some natural light through, but give a layering of foliage from the top to the bottom. So we've created that by planting clumping palm trees that are instantly 6-7 metres tall. So that helps scale the building and hide the neighbour at the same time.
Create a sense of flow and continuity, we relied a lot on the color palette and the mood setting for the house. In the living room area and the dining room, green is really predominant, as well as the brick. Then when we shift to the bedrooms, we could bring in more earth tones, browns, mood. Amber is something that's present always with the brick. In the master bedroom, we slightly make it different, where blue becomes the forefront, and amber is our accent. The architect is really incredible at using space and creating function. He understands how people need to live daily, from storage to entertaining, sleeping, to using office space. All of this was already planned. For us, we got more into the details of things. So the micro level of function. You know, where do you keep things? How would it be stored? How would it be displayed? We work really closely with the clients on that. What kind of items do they use? How do they like to use their space? Are they cooks themselves? Will they cook often? Do they entertain? So will they need extra dinnerware or napkins, etc.? For women, you know, in your bathroom, do you have lots of toiletries or do you not? And from there, we create drawer organizers, etc.
My favourite part of this landscape is because it's more unique than your typical landscape in terms of it's compact. You don't have big grass areas, you don't have space, you have a confined courtyard feel. So for me, that bit was a design element that made the project interesting, because we had a confined area to play, and how do we make the most of that smaller area where small becomes big.
The color scheme of the home is probably my favorite part. It's very earthy, it's moody, it's natural. Again, the architect had a vision, and he had determined all of the materials for the home. So that is where we started off, with these beautiful handmade temple bricks, sort of clay from Bali that's brown and red. And then with the teak, we left it natural. Cement is gray toned. And from there, we just picked up from the outdoors, the landscaping with all these layers of green, and we based that for our interior furnishings. In Bali, it's a wonderful place, in Indonesia, to design, because there's a full range of items that you can purchase that are really expensive or, you know, more humbly priced. We were not limited with budget in this project. It really was a project that the client wanted to see the best and achieve the best. And the limit was our creativity, what we could source, and the skills of the artisans we worked with.
This was an expensive garden for its size. Even though the villa fills most of the block, we've used in excess of 35 large trees and palms.
so near the end of the project, I'm very clear on the little items or the things that we need to invoke the soul of the home. This project was a real delight in the team. Marcus, the client, put together, I would say, one of the best teams I've ever worked with. Everyone had a clear role and we all collaborated with one another, which made this project a dream. It was a real pleasure to work alongside all of these experts in their field and to get ideas from one another and to come together to resolve any problems that we needed to solve. The biggest challenges are, I think, sometimes getting the clients to trust you fully. Once they do, I think that's where real magic happens.